Hey everybody, I've got this beautiful guitar. You'll be seeing me play it more. But the way it's set, I'm going to talk about the guitar a little bit during the course of this lesson. But the way it's set up, it's in particular very good for kind of folk rock and kind of the late 60s, early 70s type rock that was kind of acoustic music played on rock guitars. And there were a lot of bands that did that. You know, Dylan went electric. That's kind of but the Byrds and so Bob Dylan in the band. But I wanted to do a couple old Neil Young songs. And also, I've been playing a lot, but I'll give a little lesson on each of these songs. I used to play a lot of Neil Young in high school. I had some friends, and we were all pretty big Neil Young fans, so we would sit around and play Neil Young. We had two guitars and a guy who played the harmonica really well, and also would sing. And I'm going to sing these, but believe me, and I like to sing Neil Young. I used to sing a lot of Neil Young, and I was always told that I had a voice kind of like Neil Young. But I never really was sure whether to take that as a compliment, because Neil Young is considered one of the worst voices to have ever made it in classic rock. Someone said they didn't even want to play his music on Canadian radio. So some of his acoustic stuff, his voice would be so grating to people, that kind of high nasal sound. And all his songs are written in horrible keys to sing. They're all too high. I wonder how he does some of them now, but they were great. So you like Neil Young, they were great. So I grew up with a lot of Neil Young. I'm going to play a couple, and I'll give little kind of mini lessons on each one. But this guitar, by the way, you'll be seeing me talk a little bit more about it. This is a Susan Tedeschi Telecaster, and one of the things I like about it is it's got the 6 saddle bridge. And as much as I love a traditional telly, when I played Ultra, man, that thing had such good intonation. And I said, I want a Telecaster that is intonated like that. And this one's just, you can play it, just relax and play it. All this stuff like F major 7th chords. Boy, if you're not in really good tune and you try to play a major 7th chord, forget it, But, and it's got this, was it TDX or something? But you turn it, it's got a little catch in the tone knob. And you get kind of a boost, almost like that Eric Clapton Strat. But Neil Young's great. So the electric guitar side of Neil Young, I don't know. Today I think people see him kind of as an acoustic artist. But I remember, man, he did some hard rock. And one thing that was cool about it is when he would play, it was like he was taking all his acoustic guitar songs and playing them on an electric guitar. So you never heard Neil Young doing a lot of riffs, it was all kind of like A minor chords, F, G. It was like he took an acoustic guitar and he started played it really loud on an electric. And by the way, a lot of electric guitars can't do that. I don't think that would sound just all muddy. And that's what I say. This guitar, it's got that. See that's that old Neil Young song sound. And this has flat wounds on it, and they also enable you to play like that. This thing is great. So I wouldn't want to play a lot of leads on it. Maybe some Neil Young one-note guitar solos as they used to do. Maybe kind of a little bit, but it's not really set up for leads. But but you can play. See that's like an acoustic guitar song played on electric. To the extent there's a difference between electric guitar playing and acoustic guitar playing, Neil Young, I always think of him as an acoustic guitar player, and then we would move over and play this stuff on electric, and it would just rock the house every time. But it was basically acoustic music. It would always have that kind of acoustic vibe, just like super amplified, which was a lot of the folk rock in that period was like that. But he more than anybody else, you know, he'd take like basically acoustic music and rock it out. But anyway, I got a couple here. Let's start with this one. And what I'll do is I'll play it. I hope I get the lyrics right. You know, I know a lot of the lyrics actually to Neil Young because like I said, I used to play them in high school. And then I'll give a little bit of lesson. I feel like the chords are kind of self-explanatory. You know, like I guess, you know, that's an A minor. I'm assuming, you know, that's a G chord. That's an F major 7th. And I'll write them on the screen. And then also, of course, it's I would say the picking hand is kind of an acoustic guitar. Like you would play, I would play, I'm playing this kind of like it's a Martin guitar, only you can hear, it's got that old, it's electric guitar sound, but that's that, I'm picking with that right hand. That's like a Martin. That's like playing an acoustic guitar. The left hand is kind of good old acoustic. It's kind of like playing acoustic guitar, but these are electric guitar songs. But the style and the way you play it is just imagine yourself playing a nice Martin D28 or a Martin D35, because I really think that's kind of what they were. Then he moved them on over to electric, and they just rocked the house. But at their heart, all these songs were acoustic guitar songs. So, in no particular, I'm going to do, this might be kind of a long video, and then I'll break it up. I'm going to do Like a Hurricane, Cinnamon Girl, Alabama. Don't want to tick off all my southern neighbors. By the way, it is an offensive song, Alabama, and I'm going to do Southern Man. We'll talk a little bit about it, but they are great songs. What are you going to say about it? Cowgirl in the Sand, might try a little Ohio, and Down by the River. And several of these, all these songs are too high to sing, and some of them are just ridiculous. But we're going to try it anyway. So here's Like a Hurricane. You know, it's A minor, G, F major 7th. You know, a lot of that's like an acoustic guitar, F major 7th, and I'm playing. You don't have to, but I like to use that. I'm playing 2 strings with that finger right there, and then that with my thumb. And I don't do that. Sometimes I'll just play an F major 7th, kind of like that. But it's an F major 7th. It's not an F. So you got that sound. That's why I say, like, if you have one of those kind of fussy guitars that are never quite in tune, these are songs that are killer to play. You get yourself a nice guitar like this that plays acoustic guitar type stuff, which is kind of like the way a lot of the electric guitars were in the mid-'60s through the early '70s, I would say. You know, they didn't really start coming out with round wound strings much. So a lot of great rock, early rock, was played with these flat wounds, and they're great for Okay, so here we go. So it's A minor, but I'm just going to play it. great for this kind of stuff. Like I said, I wouldn't try to do a lot of chicken picking or fancy picking on it, but for that kind of thing, this guitar is awesome. But let me just show you a little bit what I was doing. By the way, I'm using a Turnip Greens, which has got the Soul Food gain, which is kind of like a Klon gain, really super good pedal. Then the reverb, Holy Grail reverb, and I've also got some digital delay from the Keeley DDR pedal finishing up. But let me just show you, like I said, I'm playing this like an acoustic guitar, and now that's right hand picking. That's what gives you that minor. And get that nice rhythm. Get those up picks. E minor. So that's a... Play the F major 7th. You still do that. So that's great if you can do that. I would say. See, I don't hear that. You know that Neil Young, that generation, and that's how I learned too. They were kind of acoustic guitar players first. So I don't hear a lot of picking like that anymore. See, that's the F major 7. And those are pull-offs or whatever those are. I'll do it again. Up the tempo. Now here's the chorus. And it's an acoustic guitar playing, so that walk up. Now it's like a folk guitar, country guitar walk up, and you're walking up from G to C. Then a C, and hit the bass note, then a. So you go. Major 7th. That's 70s talk right there. I'm getting blown away. When's the last time you ever heard that someone say that? All right, but that's kind of the gist of it. And then he's got, you know, I'm gonna let you kind of figure out how to play the, but and he's got that really good blown away. Speaking of blown away, that kind of blown away lead, which is awesome. I think that's off. That's a little. You know what? I mean, Neil Young's done great stuff right along, but actually, if you think about it, that was a little bit later because that was more of a mid-'70s song, and a lot of the really familiar Neil Young songs are late '60s, early '70s. So, but I remember that one. That's great. All right, the next one we're gonna do is Cinnamon Girl. Now this one's in D. And by the way, I remember hearing this was in Dadgad, and I didn't even know what Dadgad, but everyone used to say it was in Dadgad or Drop D. And also a lot of people say he played it like this. But we're going to play it in like acoustic guitar D. And again, I'm going to use my thumb. So that's when you see that, that's me playing an F, then a G chord. But then, and we're just going to hammer on that. That's all 3rd fret hammer-ons. Low E, then a A. You're going to just land on the D. Then you go, and that's kind of, so it's kind of like or it's, you know, like Midnight Rider. It's one of those songs, and it's kind of got that. So, but it's that's an E, then it's A, C. So that's kind of. That's the gist of it. All right, let's try this baby here. I'll just play it. To make it a D. I wouldn't play it as a major or a minor. Just play at 1-5-1. Don't play play D major chord, don't play D minor chord. Just play. So don't play that E string there. But that main riff is. That's F, and I'm using my thumb. That's 60s guitar playing. Solo in the middle and you come back in on the singing. I want to live with the single girl. I could be happy the rest of my life with the single girl. A dreamer of pictures are running in there. You see us together, chasing the moonlight, my single girl. Play this. Too sad. You just want the power of the 151. So just kind of mute that string. Don't. But that's a great song, obviously, and I have heard different ways of playing it. All right, we got Alabama off Harvest. This is a great song. Song that inspired Sweet Home Alabama. I think Neil Young said he regrets it. Of course, they were just kids. I always stick up for the South a little bit myself, so we're not trying to make a commentary. Where's Neil Young from? Manitoba? What are the demographics of Neil Young's hometown, I wonder? But anyway, this is Alabama, and this is another one that you play like an acoustic guitar, but you play on an electric guitar, and it gives it that, which I don't hear anymore. It gives it a hard rock sound, but it's also like an acoustic guitar sound, and it's such a great thing that Neil Young did. Other artists too, but I don't know anyone that did it really any better than Neil Young. Although you listen to a lot of the music back then, Led Zeppelin, a lot of the great Led Zeppelin rock that's got such a buzz to it was acoustic guitar stuff, kind of played on electric guitars, you know. And that's a special thing. I don't. But anyway, this is Alabama, so we're gonna have F's, G's, and then an E minor. This Susan Tedeschi song's guitar. All right, so I'll play it once, and then we'll break it down a little bit. Although I think the right hand. That's an acoustic guitar right hand. It's F. And you bounce off the bass string. It's flat picking, basically. G. All right, so here we go. Harvest. punched off a regional, you know what, storm, but all the songs that inspired Sweet Home Alabama, they're all great songs, aren't they? Kind of funny how that worked. You know, nowadays they probably, you know, they try to cancel each other, or, you know, look up bad stuff about each, you know. Neil Young, you know, 15 years ago he was drunk in the front yard in his underpants or something. We need to take all his records out of the store. Instead, they wrote a song about it. Sweet Home Alabama defended themselves a little bit. We got a bunch of good songs out of that, didn't we? There's a lesson there somewhere. But let's just look at this. It's kind of self-explanatory. I would say if you're a little bit of a flat picker, to me, this is a flat picking type song that, you know, I'm envisioning playing it on a Martin. You know, Neil Young always played Martins on all that great acoustic stuff he did. So, but you play F, that's flat picking, and you get those up picks. That's an E minor 7, so you got. Chords are F, E7, that's a walk down, and laying on it, so you play F chord, and again you want to, I'm assuming, hopefully some of you are a little more intermediate to advanced in your picking, where that's not too bad, but you're playing an F chord, and that's just like a, you know, old school cowboy chord, F chord, but that's your bass note. And you're just going to walk down chromatically and end on the D string and play D7 and do an alternating bass. So you got then an E7 or an E chord, and I'm playing an E chord like that. You know, a lot of people play them like that. I play with 2 fingers, but it's just E. To get that, and I'm playing the whole F chord, and I'm playing 2 fingers there. Some of you might find that kind of hard. I don't know. I just, but I'm playing 2 fingers there, then that. So it's a. That's a. Got to spare change. Got to feel strange. It's all that it brings. And you do that little. Those are. See, that's acoustic guitar playing. You play an A minor and then just open it up, whatever chord that is. Sounds great, doesn't it? But you got to come back to the A minor. It's going to sound horrible. And then a D. And play hammer on there. You know, in the 70s, the D chord, they just always did stuff like, you know, like Jim Crow, all those Cat Stevens, all those great songs were written around that little D chord thing. It's a, so it's a. Up here, and I play like a Stairway to Heaven D chord, which is that, you know, Stairway to Heaven, he goes, but that's a D chord, which is that, might have had two guitars. That might be a slide guitar though. But I feel like a lot of younger players they don't play that acoustic kind of old country flat picking folks acoustic. That's Neil Young. That's like Dylan went electric, you know. But that's Alabama. That's a good one. Here's another one, Southern Man. Now this is in D minor, and you know what? I used to have a Neil Young piano vocal guitar book, and you know, some of those piano vocal guitar books, they wouldn't always be accurate. Like like you get the piano vocal guitar music from the 70s, the sheet music, as they used to say, the Stairway to Heaven or something, and try to look at the guitar part and get what Jimmy Page is doing off there. But sometimes they'd have pretty good chords, and over the years I've looked, and I look at other people play it different, and I don't know who's playing it right, but I like the way I learned it off the old sheet music, and this is from the old sheet music. So this is Southern Man. We're gonna play D minor. So that's a D minor. Now the last song, Cowgirl in the Sand, we said when you play D, don't make it a major and don't make it a minor. You just want that. All those songs that are kind of swampy like that. So, but in this case, we do want a D minor, so it's going to be D minor, and then you're going to hammer it. So you're playing D minor, and you're going to pinky it, and then come down and hit it with. You got to have a little bit of discretion in your pick. That's how I do it anyway. Then a B flat. These are all like guitar lesson, elementary school guitar lesson open chords, and they're great. If you don't know them, you're deficient in your playing. B flat, then a G minor, and that's a A. Neil Young actually played that on the piano, I think, when you would see him do it live. And, of course, you got Stephen Stills there and David Crosby. So, and it's hard to sometimes tell exactly what they're doing. But that's kind of the gist of it. And you want that to be in good tune. See, I feel like a lot of electric guitars I have, this song wouldn't sound good on them because you never quite have it in good enough tune to play all those cowboy chords. That's an F major 7th. Now we got a B flat. Play that B flat like a bar chord. Then you go to that main theme. Then the verse is singing. They keep doing that. Lily Bell, your hair is I wouldn't ever put Neil Young on like greatest. He's musical. He's kind of like Dylan. He's a musical player, and I love his playing. But you'd never put him on someone who had like greatest guitar solo, unless you're doing like one hit, one note solos or something. But I mean, he's not getting Larry Carlton or even Eric Clapton or people like that. But I'll tell you what, see a lot of guitar players today, and I don't think they can do that. But anyway, that's Southern Man. All right, we got another one here in A minor. It's kind of like a hurricane. That's an A minor. Awesome chord changes. And when I play, that's an F major 7th again, and I'm playing 2 fingers there, and then so I could do it like that, but I don't know, for some reason, maybe it's how I'm sitting, I find that easier, but I bet some of you gonna find that hard, but I'm playing that with my thumb, then with both these 2 strings with 1 finger, then these like that. So it's let's try, and again, it's kind of like all these, you got kind of acoustic guitar right hand, I would say, in this, which is great. I feel like a lot of younger players, I don't feel like you see them play, they always do that kind of singer-songwriter, John Mayer type stuff, and you wonder if they could really thump out a folk song, because this is kind of like folk music, actually electrified. that's another one. It's a lot like the other ones we've been playing, but use that pick. I showed you that. That's that same drill. And then the F major 7. Some delay on there, a little bit of gain, not too much. Like I said, that's kind of country flat picking. Great song. Let's try. I don't know how much I'll do. This is another one kind of in D minor. So D minor, and an F, and you put your pinky on there. So you're playing F chord, and then you put your pinky on the 3rd fret of the B string, and then play a C chord. Keep that pinky there. And so that's that chorus is G minor 7th. And you can play a C ninth there, but I find it just goes best played just a good old C chord. G minor 7th. Again, a lot of that to me is some finesse with acoustic guitar type picking and acoustic guitar type chords. And I see, like I said, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I see a lot of younger players. I don't feel like they can play a lot of those old acoustic guitar styles that Neil Young played, among many others, Dylan, all those people. But in Neil Young's case, and also Dylan's case, a lot of cases, they moved those acoustic guitar styles over to electric. And if they get the right kind of guitar where that's feasible, you can get some really great songs. All right, this next one is Down by the River. Now, I used to play this one, and the guy sang it. By the way, I can sing some of these if, when I was a kid, if you were in a group or something, you had a PA and drums, I'd kind of belt them out. I don't know how good it was, but I'd sing them. But some of these are, Neil Young's got three categories of songs that are too high. Category 1 of Neil Young songs that are too high are every Neil Young song ever written is too high. Category 2 of Neil Young songs that are too high are songs that are ridiculously high by Neil Young. And then category 3 of songs that are too high by Neil Young is Down by the River. It's a category all to itself. Who's gonna sing this one? I don't know. But anyway, we're gonna try. But it's such a great jam song. It's like kind of Grateful Dead type jam band type song. And you want to go from an E minor 7 to an A 7. Pink Floyd song too. I'd actually like to sing, but if you change the key much, it doesn't sound like the good old Neil Young song of yesteryear. And I don't know about you, but I'm not gonna try to sing that one. find yourself a female to sing. Unless you know, you might have people that can do it. But you know what? Neil Young, that was too high for Neil Young to sing. I think the problem with a lot of those songs is the guitar parts that sound so great, and they'd be like, yeah, they're like 22-year-old guys, and it was all about the guitar. It was the age of the guitar, so they'd come up with these awesome guitar songs, and they just sing them, you know. And it's true, if you change the guitar part out that much, lower or anything, it's not the same. So that's an E minor 7th, A. This guitar is great. I'm going to be doing some more of these kind of 60s and early 70s, kind of Dylan, Neil Young, the Byrds, you know, any of that kind of stuff, the band, with this type of guitar that's electric, but you can kind of play it like an acoustic. And that's what this is, and that's what this lesson's been. And there aren't too many people better at that than old Mr. Neil Young. Colorful character that he has been over the years. Thank you Neil Young, for such great music, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to post this whole thing, just you can watch it, and then I'm going to break it down so people that search can find those individual songs I did. Like a Hurricane, Cinnamon Girl, Alabama, Southern Man, Cowgirl in the Sand, Ohio, and Down by the River. Thanks. God bless.